Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into something particularly unsettling. We've got a collection of personal stories, really raw accounts of, well, disturbing childhood memories.
Yeah, these aren't just ghost stories. They're glimpses into those formative years, you know, when what's real and what you fear can get seriously blurred. Leaves a mark.
Exactly. And these are first-person accounts we're talking about.
Yeah.
Incidents that were just baffling at the time or deeply traumatic.
And our aim here isn't just to, spook you. It's to explore the power these memories hold. Some are still total mysteries.
Right. And others get a resolution, but maybe one that's even more disturbing in its own way.
Precisely.
So our mission today, unpack these intense stories, try to understand their impact, and maybe see what they tell us about, I don't know, the mind, memory, how strange the world looks through a kid's eyes.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so first up, a story that really hits that feeling of deep mystery and that chilling sense of being watched.
Ah, yes, the Johnny Jump story.
Right. So this kid, let's call him Johnny, he's about 7 or 8. He often played down by this creek behind his house. Pretty standard kid stuff.
He used to jump over it from this 5-foot dirt wall, pretending it was parkour.
Exactly. Just playing.
Yeah.
But then, one day, he finds something. Right in the middle of the creek. A brand new football.
Okay.
And here's the really weird part. The top half, completely dry.
Oh, wow. So not like it just rolled in there.
No way. It was placed there, deliberately.
Okay, that's already creepy.
It gets weirder. Written on that dry part, in black marker, Johnny Jumps.
Ah.
Yeah. And underneath, a phone number.
Someone knew his name. And his little game? That's deeply unsettling.
Right, so Johnny, totally freaked out but also confused, he calls the number. It connects straight to Homeland Security.
Wait, Homeland Security?
Yep. Remember, this is just a few years after 911, so calling them felt like, dialing Super 911, as he put it.
Okay, this is taking a very strange turn. What did they say?
The woman on the line just told him, very calmly, it's okay, and don't call this number again.
That's it. No explanation.
None. So he tells his mom, she's obviously baffled. Later, tells his dad, who divorced from his mom.
What did the dad do?
The dad took the football, said he'd look into it, but then things got weird.
How so?
Over the next weeks, months, the dad got super vague about it, then started acting like he had no idea what Johnny was even talking about.
Huh. Denial.
Seems like it. 10 years later, Johnny brings it up. Dad claims zero memory. Zero. Mom only vaguely remembers something about a football.
Wow. That's the layers there. The watching, the specific phrase, Homeland Security, and then the parental amnesia. It's bizarre.
Totally. I mean, who was watching him? Why that phrase? Why Homeland Security of all things? And the parents just forgetting or choosing to forget.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How adults might try to shield kids or maybe even shield themselves from stuff that's just too disturbing or unexplainable.
Yeah. That lack of resolution, the denial, it leaves such a heavy feeling, a really profound mystery.
So from that kind of deep, unexplained personal event, let's shift to something else. A terrifying memory, but one that gets, corroborated, confirmed by others.
Ah, right. This makes it feel even more real somehow. And this one involves the Easter Bunny.
Which sounds innocent, but wait for it.
Okay. So this person, 5 years old at the time, wakes up in the middle of the night.
And sees the Easter Bunny standing in their room.
But not a cute one. Described as one of those terrifying costumes. Like an Easter Halloween hybrid.
Yeah, those old costumes could be genuinely frightening. And there's a sensory detail here, too.
The smell, right?
Yeah, they distinctly remember smelling wet hay.
Wet hay. So specific and unsettling.
And then later, they found an extra Easter egg in the house. One their parents definitely hadn't hidden.
Okay, weird. So fast forward, they're in high school. They finally ask their parents, did you dress up?
Parents say no, absolutely not, never did.
But then the sister, who was in the same room, shared a bunk bed that night.
What about the sister?
The sister says, oh yeah, I remember the Easter Bunny coming into our room. And then she adds,
don't tell me.
She mentions the hay smell.
Whoa, a detail they'd never discussed.
Never. Shared memory, same bizarre sensory detail.
That is genuinely chilling. A shared experience that defies easy explanation. That wet hay smell. It just adds this layer of tangible strangeness.
But it doesn't even stop there.
There's more.
Years later, talking to a childhood neighbor from across the street.
Yeah.
The neighbor casually mentions that one Easter night, way back when, she looked out her window,
And saw the Easter Bunny.
standing in her driveway.
Okay, now it's crossing property lines. This is getting into some kind of local phenomenon territory.
Right, so multiple witnesses shared specific details. It's no wonder the person who originally saw it is still terrified of rabbit costumes.
Absolutely. It takes some things supposedly innocent and twists it into this source of deep, lasting fear. The corroboration just dials up the eerie factor immensely. What was that?
Okay, so we've had total mystery and shared mystery. Now let's talk about a story that did eventually get an explanation. After years and years of trauma.
The resolution isn't always comforting, is it?
Definitely not in this case.
No.
This one we're calling the zombie at the bay window.
Sounds intense.
It was. So another 5-year-old, reading in bed, curtains open, suddenly hears a loud thump on the bay window right next to the bed.
Oh, gosh.
Looks up and sees, described as a thing zombie, pressed right against the glass,
The zombie.
staring in.
Again. Filmy eyes.
And then it slowly slides down the window, out of sight.
I can't even imagine seeing that as a kid or, frankly, as an adult.
Right. And this kid apparently never really had nightmares, wasn't scared of the dark, was pretty logical about monsters not being real.
But this broke through all that.
Instantly, locked up in fear, ran to their grandparents, just gibbering, totally incoherent with terror.
Understandable. Was there any evidence?
The next morning, a greasy smear on the window, and what looked like, get this, a little piece of flesh.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yep. Grandparents brushed it off. Said a bird must have hit the window.
Okay. A very unusual bird strike then.
Exactly. But for the child, this wasn't explained away. It became this core trauma.
Led to long-term issues.
Oh, yeah. Crippling fear of the dark for almost 20 years. Needed nightlights everywhere. Bedwetting because they were too scared to go down the dark hallway to the bathroom. Severe nightmares.
All from that one moment. It shows how potent those early fear experiences can be. That's a significant trauma response.
Huge impact. But then, nearly 2 decades later, Thanksgiving dinner, the person, now an adult, recounts this terrifying childhood story. Their uncle just bursts out laughing.
Laughing? Why?
He confesses. Turns out, back then, he lived next door. He had a friend who worked in movie special effects.
Oh, I see where this might be going.
He had asked the friend to help him perfect a makeup look, a floating corpse look.
Okay.
He was coming home late, still in full makeup, took a shortcut through their yard, saw the kid reading in bed.
And he thought,
He thought it would be hilarious to slam himself against the window.
hilarious. Seriously.
That's what he said. He did it, went home, and apparently just forgot about it. For nearly 20 years, while his niece or nephew was dealing with severe trauma.
Wow. The sheer thoughtlessness is astounding. Hilarious. That act caused decades of fear.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? The contrast, the child's absolute terror, the zombie, the piece of flesh, versus the mundane, frankly, idiotic reality of a prank gone horrifically wrong.
It really highlights something crucial, doesn't it? How a single act, completely misunderstood through a child's developing view of reality, can cause such profound, lasting psychological damage.
Even when the cause itself was, well, not supernatural, just incredibly stupid.
Exactly. The fragility of perception, the power of fear, it's all right there. A shocking resolution in its own way.
All right, so for our final story, we're moving into territory that's maybe even more complex psychologically. A memory that feels intensely real to the person experiencing it.
But is completely denied by everyone else who was supposedly there.
Yeah. This challenges our whole idea of memory and truth. We're calling it the father's final moments.
A very sensitive subject.
Extremely. So this person was only 3 years old. They had this incredibly vivid memory of walking into the room where their father lay right after he passed away.
Okay, a very young age to retain such a memory.
And the details are sharp. They remember seeing his face, described as purple, and seeing a dribble of chicken soup.
Chicken soup.
Yeah, apparently his mother had been trying to get him to eat some, running down the left side of his face.
Wow. That's incredibly specific visual detail.
Is it? And the child remembers not crying, just feeling very confused and walking out of the room and just watching Power Rangers on TV.
Almost like a dissociation, a way to cope with something incomprehensible at that age. Such a stark contrast.
Right. A powerful cinematic memory. But here's the twist.
The family's account.
Completely different. The mother insists, absolutely adamantly, that she had a neighbor take the child over to their house as soon as the father started declining.
So the child wasn't even there when he passed.
According to the mother, no. She says the child never saw him like that. And by the time the child came back, the bedroom door had been shut and locked for quite a while.
And other family members.
All the siblings back up the mother's version. Everyone agrees. The child did not see the father after he died.
Yet the person has this incredibly vivid, detailed memory, including details like aspirating chicken soup that no one apparently ever told them.
Exactly. They say, nobody ever told me what he looked like when he died, let alone that he was aspirating chicken soup when it happened. They have no idea where this memory comes from.
This really gets into the territory of false memories, or maybe reconstructed memories, especially in early childhood or around trauma.
Explain that a bit more. Is it like lying?
Not consciously, no. It's more like the brain trying to fill in gaps. Confabulation. Piecing together fragments of emotion, overheard snippets, maybe even things seen later, to create a coherent story for an event that was overwhelming or poorly understood.
So the brain creates a narrative to make sense of it all.
Often, yes. The need for narrative, for closure, is incredibly strong. Sometimes the mind generates details to satisfy that need, even if they aren't factually accurate according to external accounts.
So how do you reconcile that? Your own vivid memory versus everyone else saying, no, that didn't happen.
That's the profound question the story raises, isn't it? The nature of subjective truth versus objective reality. It forces us to consider how much of our own past is actually recalled and how much might be constructed.
It's a powerful reminder that the narrator in our head isn't always reliable, especially when dealing with intense emotion or early childhood. It makes you really question the nature of memory itself.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive, these stories, all of them, they really underscore how powerful and strange childhood memories can be.
Yeah, especially the disturbing ones, the ones that don't quite make sense or linger in unsettling ways.
They show how these early experiences, whether they were objectively real, like the uncle's prank, or potentially reconstructed, like the last story, or just completely unexplained, like Johnny's football, they all cast these long shadows.
Shaping fears, shaping perceptions, maybe even shaping who we become.
It really drives home the complexity of memory, doesn't it? How much is fact? How much is interpretation? How much is the brain just trying its best to make sense of a confusing, sometimes scary world?
It really makes you wonder how much of what we think we know about our own childhood is the whole story.
A sobering thought.
These stories definitely make you think, don't they?
Yeah.
About maybe your own childhood. Any hidden moments, unanswered questions, things that still feel off.
Those little inconsistencies or vivid flashes that don't quite fit.
Well, the deep dive is always here, trying to unpack these fascinating insights. Thank you for joining us for this exploration into some truly unsettling memories.
It's been fascinating, if chilling.
And hey, if you found this interesting, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docx. We'll be back with more deep dives into the strange and unexplained. Thanks for listening.